Hello, this is Symphony. I am an insurance agent for property and casualty and life and health. But today I'll be talking to you more about the life insurance information that some of you may probably be confused or asking clarifications. What really is the difference between a term insurance and a whole life insurance, or what we call a permanent life insurance? So, a term, from the word term itself, is termed from 10 years, 15 years for some, 20 years, and 30 years. If you're going to buy a policy for 10 years, specifically, it will only end unlocked for a certain rate for 10 years, and as well as your life benefit or the face value of the insurance for 10 years. Once that 10-year term is over, or you're close to that specific term, you will receive sort of a statement or a letter from the company that your insurance, if you will continue the policy, this will double up, or this will triple up, or quadruple up from the premium that you have been paying for the last 10 years. And it's the same thing with a 20-year policy and a 30-year policy. And a term insurance, as compared to a permanent policy, is very cheap. And the purpose of it is really for young couples, young people, that they're looking at a more um, value. Value meaning it's cheaper, and at the same time they could get more face value to cover, let's say, a mortgage, or to cover a car, that in the event something happens to them, there is an amount for a specific period of time that will cover their house payment, or the cover for an entire mortgage of the entire term. If something happens to them, it will be paid off. So if you have 150,000 or $200,000 face amount of an insurance term policy, if something happens to you within 15-year term, or 15-year or 20-year term, if that's what you want, or even longer, 30-year term, it is a security for you and your family that whatever happens to you, the house is paid off, or all other expenses will be paid off. So the purpose of it is that you will die in that period. That's why it's cheap. And it is always recommended by a lot of, financial experts to get a term policy. I don't have any objection on a term policy, but a term policy is like you're renting a home, you're paying on your rent every month, but it's not really yours. It's only yours or your beneficiaries if you die. So you really have to die for that money to be transferred or be given to your beneficiaries. But if you don't die, you are just paying the monthly, you're just paying the monthly up to the end of the term, and it will go away if you will not continue with a policy, because I don't think by that time it will still be available, or I should say be affordable to you. Now, how about the permanent life policy? There are a lot of kinds of permanent policy out there, and normally in some companies it is up to age 100 or 121, or age 121. Now, there are a lot of benefits with a permanent policy. A permanent policy has, number one, a price lock. It's the same with a term policy too, but I'm going to mention to you about the price lock policies right now. Um, Same with a term policy. A permanent policy is fixed in price, it will never increase, and it is locked for life, or up to age 100 or up to age 121. And there are also policies depending on the amount and the age there is no medical. So all we would gather is your medical records. We will have to get the statements from your doctor that you are in good health and there are no pre-existing condition. And in most cases, we don't need, as I've said, medical. We'll just have to get it, and we'll just give you a call, or you'll have to call the lab company for an interview, and that's it. And it's normally take the earliest would be a week to 4 weeks, depends on the case. And also, there is no waiting period. Other companies out there, they do have a 2-year waiting period, so you are paying for monthly right now, and you'll have to wait. You should not die within the first 2 years of the policy. But with our insurance company, with our policies, as soon as you're approved, you will get immediate coverage. There is no waiting period. So again, the first one, it's price guaranteed. It's fixed for life or up to age 100 to 121. Some policies, there's no medical depending on the age and the coverage of the policy. If it's less than 250,000, normally there is no medical requirement for it, and there is no waiting period. Now the fourth one I could give you is it has accidental benefit. If in case that you die due to an accident, there is actually a rider that you could add to the policy. If in case that you die due to an accident, then it will double up the face amount. So that's something that you could ask your insurance agent. And there's also another policy that we call accelerated benefit. That means if you are treated by your doctor to have chronic illness, terminal illness, or chronic illness, terminal illness, or there's another one I forgot, but it's all based on your health condition. So if you have that specific health condition, you would be able to cash up money from your benefits. So it's not just your beneficiary who will take advantage of the face value. So that money can also cover your hospitalization. And I remember now, it's critical illness. So chronic illness, critical illness, and terminal illness. If you have been diagnosed by your doctor, then you'll be able to use your face amount, your death benefit right there, even though you're still alive. That's what we call a living benefit too. That is a good coverage that you would be able to use for hospitalization. And either you'll be using up to 70% or 80% of the coverage depending on the insurance company. So that's something that you could ask your insurance agent as well. And I mentioned, I believe, the fourth thing, so this is going to be the fifth thing. The money that you are building up for the face amount also accrues money for your cash value. So that means if at a certain time you want to borrow money, although we don't recommend it, but it's your money for emergency purposes, you could borrow money from your policy. So at a certain period, let's say on your 15th year or 20th year, there is a specific amount that you want to borrow, you could. And some other policies, there's also 3 disbursements. Let's say on the 15th year of the policy, the 20th year, and 25th, you will be able to decide at that time if you would still want to continue the policy. You could cash up the entire amount of the policy and terminate the insurance. And at that time, you will, depending on the age, depending on the money that you've put in, you may be eligible to get 100% of the premium you have paid. And that is a very good coverage. Like as if you're just putting in for something, you have a life policy, you are secured for life, and at the same time, as if you are saving money that's just in case if you would need this at a certain time for emergency purposes, you could use it. And you could also use it for critical illness, terminal illness or chronic illness if at that time you'll be diagnosed by then. And of course, lastly, you have a local agent like me who works in Colorado, in Pueblo and Colorado Springs, or locally, I should say, in Colorado. Wherever you are, you could always talk to me, and I'm here locally, to meet you and answer your questions. That, if you have any concerns at all, you could maybe get some information about the policies that you're interested in. I am here. We do have offices too all over the region. We'll be able to talk to you and help you with whatever you need. We are here to help you and answer questions for you. If you're looking at final expense, burial expense, we could write policies as low as $10,000 up to over $1 million. If you are here in Colorado and just want to know information more about it, give me a call at 719-553-5668, or give me a comment, leave a comment in here in my YouTube channel, and we'll definitely contact you as soon as possible. And thank you so much for your time. I hope that I have given value to your maybe curiousness about life insurance. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day. Bye bye.